Welcome back to today's Explainer, where we're diving headfirst into what has been an absolutely explosive week in AI. It is August 10th, 2026, and the entire landscape of artificial intelligence is just actively shifting beneath our feet right now. We're tracking the whole shebang, from some serious internal struggles and a major reality check over at Google DeepMind, all the way to a radical new price war initiated by Chinese AI labs that is quite frankly upending the entire market economics. It's a lot to cover, so let's jump right in.
Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to hit DeepMind's leadership turmoil, Anthropic's autonomous agent bet, OpenAI's IPO push, China's aggressive pricing attacks, and the broader business boom fueling it all.
Okay, Chapter 1, DeepMind's leadership turmoil.
We are witnessing an unprecedented talent exodus at Google right now. The old guard is completely turning over. Demis Hassabis officially stepped down on August 5th, and even more shocking, Jeff Dean is leaving after 27 years. 27 years. He's off to co-found a new venture called Discovery Loop with Sanjay Gamawat and Oriol Venuels. Throw in the recent exits of absolute heavyweights like John Jumper and Noam Shazer, and the foundational core of DeepMind has essentially left the building. Stepping into this massive void is the new guard, with Kore Kavukukcuoglu now tasked with righting the ship. He's taking over Gemini model development as an SVP, reporting directly to Sundar Pichai.
So, you're probably wondering, why this massive shakeup? Well, 3 DeepMind engineers recently spoke to Fortune, and they cited a failure to prioritize AI coding skills at a time when rivals have made it central. That internal frustration hits the nail on the head. It directly explains why the flagship Gemini 3.5 Pro model is currently months overdue. It missed its original June target and then blew past 2 more release deadlines. In today's fiercely competitive AI race, that's pretty much a cardinal sin. When the actual builders feel the priorities are misaligned with the market, leadership shakeups like this are practically inevitable.
Moving on to Chapter 2, Anthropic's autonomous agent bet.
While DeepMind is struggling with its roadmap, Anthropic is aggressively pushing the frontier forward. 67.2%. That is a staggering achievement. An unreleased research version of Anthropic's Claude just synthesized a series of incredibly complex, recent papers to push the long-standing Riemann hypothesis lower bound from 41.6% all the way up to 67.2%. Now, the Riemann hypothesis is literally one of math's most notoriously difficult unsolved problems, so this is a monumental leap in AI-driven mathematical reasoning. Though pushing the boundaries does come with some infrastructure strain, Claude actually suffered a brief outage this morning around 6:10 a.m. Eastern. But honestly, the underlying capability we're seeing here is undeniably profound. And on the product side, Anthropic is taking these advanced capabilities and making a really bold move. Starting August 14th, Auto Mode becomes the default for new Claude Code sessions across Pro, Max, and Team plans. Why does this matter for us? Because their telemetry shows developers are already manually approving 97% of permission prompts. By flipping the default to auto mode and dropping the safety classifier compute surcharge, Anthropic is signaling absolute confidence. They're basically telling the world that autonomous, low-interruption AI agents are no longer just experimental. They're completely ready for mainstream, everyday development.
Chapter 3, OpenAI's push for IPO. Okay, if you are a developer tuning in, listen up, because this is absolutely crucial. OpenAI is forcing a major developer shift today, August 10. They are officially retiring the GPT 5.2 and 5.3 API models. Any of your app requests still pinned to those older IDs are going to fail starting today. You have to immediately migrate your applications to GPT 5.6 Sol. It's a super aggressive deprecation schedule, which really underscores how fast they want the ecosystem moving onto their latest architecture. Also, a quick note for those tracking stability, OpenAI did manage to successfully mitigate a brief error rate spike on ChatGPT earlier this Monday afternoon by 3:07 p.m., keeping this massive migration rolling smoothly.
Alongside that API deprecation, they're heavily upgrading the workspace experience for their most lucrative users. ChatGPT Voice just added the ability to handle mid-conversation file uploads in projects. Just imagine literally talking to your AI, and mid-sentence you handed a massive financial report, and it instantly analyzes the data without skipping a single beat. It's wildly efficient. Plus, GPT Live is now becoming the default voice experience in eligible enterprise and EDU workspaces. They are definitely locking in the corporate and educational user bases with these incredibly sticky, multimodal features.
And all of those product lock-ins are leading directly to this massive target, a $1 trillion valuation. OpenAI is aggressively laying the groundwork for a Q4 2026 IPO. To institutionalize their governance and, make Wall Street comfortable, they're strategically adding some serious heavy hitters to their boards. Specifically, David Velez, the CEO of Nubank, and Robin Vince, the CEO of BNY. Adding global banking and fintech leadership to your board is an absolute textbook move when you're preparing to take a trillion-dollar entity public.
Chapter 4. China Attacks on Price. While the U.S. giants fight over corporate boards and API migrations, they are facing a rapidly accelerating existential threat from the East. The Chinese AI labs are no longer just playing catch-up, they are dictating the new terms of scale. Just look at the parameter counts. Alibaba's Qwen 3.8 Max is a 2.4 trillion parameter behemoth, currently topping Chinese text leaderboards, and they're dropping the weights for public download this very week. Then you've got Moonshot's Kimi K3, reaching an astonishing 2.8 trillion parameters, and DeepSeek's new V4 Flash model has been specifically optimized from the ground up for Huawei Ascend chips. These labs are actively challenging U.S. frontier models on scale, and they're breaking free from reliance on Western hardware to do it.
But their real weapon here is price. Let's look at the API benchmark costs per test. GPT 5.6 Solus sits at $1.86. Moonshot Kimi K3 undercuts that at 86 cents. But DeepSeek V4 Flash, it averages just 3 cents per benchmark test. 3 cents. It is matching the quality of OpenAI's budget tier, but at a 40% lower cost per task. They're effectively commoditizing the inference market overnight. I mean, if you are building an AI startup right now, the financial gravity of pulling from a 3-cent model versus a nearly $2 model is practically impossible to ignore.
Finally, Chapter 5. The Big AI Business.
When the economic stakes are this high, the political stakes always follow suit. Anthropic just spent nearly $2 million, specifically $1.97 million, on U.S. lobbying in Q2 alone. That's a 26% jump quarter over quarter. They are officially outpacing NVIDIA and nearly matching Oracle in Washington spending. Why? Because they are aggressively pushing a massive $40 million regulation initiative ahead of the 2026 midterms. The rules of the AI game are literally being written right now, and Anthropic is paying top dollar to hold the pen. Simultaneously, the underlying infrastructure boom continues, completely unbroken by any market jitters. Fireworks AI just closed a staggering Series D funding round for $1.5 billion. Why such a massive raise? To help enterprises turn broad, general-purpose models into highly specialized systems trained on their own secured data. It just goes to show us that while the foundational models are getting radically cheaper, the infrastructure required to securely deploy and fine-tune them for the enterprise is still incredibly valuable.
We are also seeing rapid monetization and innovation across specialized modalities. xAI just pushed Grok Imagine Video 1.5, which adds native 1080p text-to-video right into their API, while simultaneously hiking their Grok Voice ThinkFast 2.0 pricing up to 8 cents an audio minute. They're also beefing up developer tools in Grok Build. But honestly, the most unexpected leap comes from NVIDIA. They just released Alpamayo 2 Super, a 34 billion parameter, completely open autonomous driving model. It scored a 79.2 on Lingo QA, which is a rigorous benchmark for driving scenarios, and it completely crushed Google's Gemini 2.5 Pro by a massive 15 points in that specific domain. Specialization is yielding some truly incredible performance leaps right now.
As you digest all these industry-shifting updates, from DeepMind's internal chaos to OpenAI's trillion-dollar IPO dreams, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. We are watching a fundamental divergence in strategy. In a world where basic machine intelligence is rapidly dropping to just 3 cents a task thanks to foreign open-weight disruptors, which business strategy will actually dominate the next decade? Are we betting on the heavily funded, highly regulated, closed frontier models of the West, or the radically cheap, commoditized, open-weight scale coming from the East? The balance of power is shifting, and the winner will absolutely define the future of technology. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and remember to always keep your eyes on the data.